Bookish Babes, and welcome to day 8 of the 12 Days of Bookmas. For those that are new around here, my name's Rainy. I read all different types of genres of books, so if you're interested in that, please like and subscribe down below. It really does help my channel grow. In today's video, we are going to be doing the end of year book tag, and I'm not entirely sure who came up with this tag. If I can figure it out, I will tag them, of course, underneath here. But basically, it's a bunch of questions asked of, like, my most disappointing book of the year, my favorite book couple, main characters, happiest book I read this year, and stuff like that. So we're getting to the thick of it, right? Because as of right now, yes, I could read a couple more books that, like, maybe make their way into, like, my top books, but, like, I'm just reading romance for Goodreads, honestly, until the end of the year. I feel like that's all I'm going to end up doing, so I think it's safe to say that I can do this tag. So we're just going to go through these questions, and if you want to do it at the end, then consider yourself tagged. I will tag a couple of friends to do it. And yeah, we're gonna do a book tag. Okay, so the first question that I asked is, what is the most disappointing book of the year? And I have two answers for this. The first one is You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. This came out in like April, and I was so excited for it because I absolutely loved her last book, One of Us is Dead, and I've read another book by her, and I really have enjoyed her as an author, and so I was really excited for this. And it led me astray. It was not good, let me just say. The only reason I haven't sold this is because I like Miss Geneva Rose, and so, like, I don't want to get rid of it. Also, it's a very heavy book. But this one had an interesting premise, right? It was supposed to be about this girl. She books a random Airbnb, and then it ends up, like, kind of having this weird romance with the guy, and, like, he could be suspicious. He might not be all that he seems, but it focused way too much on the romance. It was super cringy, and then there was this weird twist at the end that, like, didn't go anywhere, and I was very upset by this. I think I gave it a 2.5 star. Like, it missed the mark by a lot. So my other one, the biggest disappointment of them all, is Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Miss Ashley Winstead. This book was so disappointing and so upsetting. I don't even want to talk about it because I was for sure that this was going to be a 5 star. And it was a 1 star because of how much I hated it. There's just not enough time in the world to devote to everything that went wrong with this book. Between, yes, my son is in the background, to everything that went wrong in this book. Between the cringy, like, millions of Twilight references, to, like, the terrible romance, to, like, the whole, like, I don't know what else to say about this book, okay? It was bad, and I'm very, very sad that this is what is being said for in this tag. Next question is, what was an underdog book? And so I took this as, like, books that are not on enough people's radars and books that, like, I surprisingly really, really loved. And one of them is Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey. I don't think enough people are reading this book. This is for that sad girl lit fic era, okay? This is kind of like a historical literary fiction about this girl named Franny, and she basically works on, like, finding the world's last flock of Arctic terns and tracking their final migration, but then also touches a lot on grief and just a lot of different things, okay? And this book was so good. I 5-starred it. I almost cried. It did almost bring me to tears. It's just a beautiful representation of this girl just trying to find her way through life while also dealing with, like, something pretty tragic. Like, a lot of tragic stuff has happened to her, and it was so good. Like, I just loved this. So if you are looking for something a little different and out there, then I recommend this one. If you're a thriller girly, then you need to look up Someone Had to Do It by Amber and Danielle Brown, because that book is such a fun time. I binged it in one sitting. It is a thriller that not enough people know about, and it's by BIPOC authors, a sister writing duo, and it is so good. I can't explain it right now because it's a little convoluted, the whole entire story, but I'm telling you, it's like a popcorn thriller. You can read it in one sitting. It's by BIPOC sisters, and it is so fabulous. I am so glad that I read that this year, and I can't wait to read whatever they write next. Question 3 is, what was an overhyped book you read? And there are many answers to this. There's Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree, which I thought for sure was going to be a hit. It wasn't. Kind of disappointing. There's, of course, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, but of course the Sprayed Edges one. I am one of the lucky girly pops that got it before it went out of commission, and everybody's selling it for like $800 now. And then also Happy Place by Emily Henry, probably the most overhyped romance. Did it live up to the hype? Not for me, tragically. It was like a 3-star, just middle of the road average, but you know, it be what it be. Alright, what is a book that surprised you? And I have 2 for this. The first one, the biggest one, is House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. I loved this book. I ate it up. I gave it a 4.5 star initially, but honestly, I'm thinking of bumping it up to 5 because I had the best time with this book. I read this when Brittany recommended it to me, thinking that I would love it, and I did. It has Bunny-esque vibes, Catherine House vibes, weird shit vibes, okay? This book gets dark. It gets dark for a YA book, but bear with me. It is so good. I was honestly so surprised by how much I loved this. I can't wait until her new book comes out in next year. I'm definitely going to read it, but I have my eye on this girly, okay? She's doing good things. She's doing cool shit in here, and it was so good. If you are into YA, or even if you're not into YA, give this one a chance. It's like a dark, sapphic, I mean, the sapphic element is hardly in it, but dark, sapphic, thriller, like horror type deal. Good read. And then outside of that, I would also was surprised by Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. I thought that was just going to be like a cute little YA pirate fantasy, and it was so good. It had good banter. I was living and loving my best life. I had the best time with this book. I was honestly thoroughly shocked by it. And I need to read the second one, which is like Daughter of the Mermaid Queen or something like that. I haven't read on in the series yet, but I'm definitely intrigued. The next question says, what is your favorite book couple of the year? And I have a couple, okay? I have Willa and Cade from Heartless because they are so adorable. I love this book with my whole heart and chest, okay? I have Daniel and Alexis from Part of Your World because this book is one of my favorite romances. I read it recently and it was so freaking good. They are just adorable. I have Rain and Araya from Serpent in the Wings of Night, of course, my #1 book of the world, my OG, my queen, my goddess, my everything, okay? And then we also have Tana and Wolf from Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin, which my friend is borrowing that book right now. I love them. We stan them, okay? We stan a good witchy romance duo. So many other couples that I love and appreciate, but those are the top tier, okay? They're top tier. All right. The next one asked me what are my favorite characters of the year, and this one was tricky. I'm probably missing some, okay? I'll pick different ones than what I just did for book couple. We have, of course, Selena Sardathian from the Throne of Glass series. Now, I am not very far in this series, and I've heard she gets more badass the further we go, but I am thoroughly enjoying her journey so far. I've read this, and I've read Assassin's Blade, and I've really enjoyed it. I do wish to finish all of Throne of Glass next year, but she's definitely a girly pop to be on the lookout for. I also really loved Annie and Sophie in this, so this could have been a relationship as well because they're besties, but I really loved both of them in this book. Like, this book was just magical. Annie was great. She learned how to, like, become a boss bitch by the end and, like, stand up for herself. Sophie was great. This cute little funky witch. Definitely loved them. And then also Linus from The House in the Cerulean Sea, because he goes on such a journey in this book. Like, he grows. Like, he does the most with himself, okay? He is so cute by the end, especially with our main caretaker, Arthur. So cute. So cute. We stand this. Adorable. Okay, the next one asked me what is some new favorite authors that you've discovered this year, and I have a couple. We have Miss Carissa Broadbent, you know, from Serpent in the Wings of Night. She's probably my top one of all time for the year. We have Rachel Hawkins, because of course I read her entire backlist this year. We also have Elsie Silver, because I'm halfway through the Chestnut Springs series, and I'm living, loving life. We have Miss Jessa Hastings, my Magnolia Parks universe queen, goddess of everything, because this book is exceptional, and so is this series. We have Miss Sophie Lark, the Mafia romance girly. I'm currently on book number 4 in her Brutal Birthright series, and I am just eating it up. And then we also have Miss Lauren Asher, which I am on her 3rd book in this Dreamland Billionaire series, The Final Offer, and the first 2 books were beautiful, and I'm loving book 3. So you know what? She's becoming an author that I need to get onto soon so I can read Love Redesigned. But those are all fabulous authors that I discovered this year. The next one says, what is the happiest book you've read this year? And I kind of have 2 answers for that. And one is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. Now, this book does cover dark stuff, but I say it's the happiest because it's like a middle grade. It's very cute, uplifting. Like, anybody that reads this gives this like 4 or 5 stars. I had like a very fun time reading this. Like, I very genuinely enjoyed my time reading this. So that's why I'm saying it's happy, even though the content itself is not necessarily. And then I would also say The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, because that was a very cozy, like, happy-go-lucky, witchy book that didn't quite hit as hard as I would have hoped for me, personally, but I still think it's a really happy, like, positive book as a whole. The next one says, what is the most frustrating book you read this year? And I don't own it, because I got rid of it already, so I'm going to put it on the screen. And that is Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. Now, I already went on a rant about this in my Clue Readathon vlog, so I'm going to keep this brief, especially because my battery is going to die. This book sucks. This book is awful. The whole premise of the book is that these people come to tell this family they have to make a choice in order to save everybody from the apocalypse. And then the whole premise of the book, in the end, doesn't even get resolved, and it is stupid, and there are choices made that are aggravating, and this book is the bane of my existence. I hate this book, okay? It is a terrible book. I'm saying don't read it. And when I say don't read it, I mean don't read that shit. Don't read it! Okay, I'm done. That's the most frustrating book by far. As far as the best book adaptation of the year goes, I actually didn't read any that I enjoyed. The only movie to book adaptation that I read this year was Cabin at the End of the World, and as you just heard, I hated that shit. So, I don't have an answer for this. That's the longest book that I've read this year. And actually, I just read it recently, and it is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, which is 572 pages. That romance went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Was it a good book? Yes. Was it forever million pages long? Also, yes. You could have easily cut out 150 to 200 pages of that stuff. The next one says, what is the shortest book you've read this year? And that is Hush Little Baby. I don't remember the name of it. It's some weird smutty novella that is 11 pages long. It's literally about this girl that ends up having a relationship with a guy where they never actually see each other's face. She never sees his face. He's just like this stranger. She likes having sex with a stranger. And she basically has terrible sex with this, terribly smutty sex, just meaning like it's not written well, sex with a stranger, and then he leaves, and a minute later she gets a text from the guy saying, hey, I'm sorry I couldn't make it tonight, can we reschedule? So she had sex with like an actual random stranger. Very weird, not good, but that's the shortest book I've read this year. The next one asks for what is my favorite covers of the year, and the first one, like the one that stood out, obviously, I'm obsessed with this cover, which is why I finally read the book and it was weird, is Mayfly by CJ Leeds. This cover is gorgeous, okay? Like, you cannot tell me this is not a stunning, like, eye-dropping cover. It made me read the book, okay? It made me read the book. We also have Hollow by Karina Halley. I really love that cover, honestly. Like, it's just pretty to me, okay? Like, Sleepy Hollow, like, we stand. Okay, I also have Daisy Hates by Magnolia Parks, the original cover. Not that ugly cookie cutter crap that's coming out now. This is, like, beautiful. Like, and all of this has meaning. Like, there's a reason for everything that's on this cover. Like, we stand Miss Jessa. We also have the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber, but the UK covers, because obviously those are significantly better than the US covers, and I'm so excited because my Fairy Loot editions are on their way to me soon. I'm so excited that I got Fairy Loot editions for that, okay? Okay, the camera angle changed because my memory card is full and I need to film this tonight, so sorry, you're getting a different angle for me. Next one says, a book that you haven't stopped thinking about, and honestly, I have 3 for this. I have Serpents in the Wing of Night by Carissa Broadbent, because we know that's my favorite book of the year, so I think about it often. I would also say Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark, because I think of Ada and Callan all the time. I love them so much. That series is like near and dear to my heart, but that book especially is the best one. And then also House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. I still think about that book, which is why I think I need to bump it up to 5 stars. It's 5 stars in my mind, okay? It's 5 stars in my mind. Ask for the cringiest book that you've read this year, and I automatically went with Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I just finished reading this, and I hated this book. I 1-starred this book. It was so bad. There are so many cringe-tastic things that happen in this book. Number one worst thing of all is that literally they are in a limo with a bunch of other couples, and the main guy is in her area. Like, in her area. Like, on a very fully loaded limo, and she's like, oh, like, stop it, like, someone's gonna see us, and he's like, I don't care, and he keeps doing it, and like, they act like nobody knows that they're literally doing that shiz right next to them. That is ridiculous. That's cringeworthy. There's so many things wrong with this book. So many things. Aside from the fact that it's not an enemies to lovers romance. It's a golden retriever who is desperately in love with a raging, awful bitch, stone cold woman, like Ice Queen. And then there's also the fact that this is not a hockey romance. He is the captain of a hockey team. They don't talk a lick about hockey, okay? So, like, there are so many things wrong with this book. But, we're gonna be done with that for now. Next one is, what is an unpopular book you love? And I'm going to go with Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. We read this at the beginning of the year for the Besties Book Club, and Neva and I liked it. Kelsey and Brittany didn't. But like I said, it's bunny vibes, okay? And I like bunny books. Bunny books are not popular. This is the least popular book on my Goodreads right now. It is the lowest rated one, okay? Because people just don't understand this girly. They don't understand the inner workings. Do I understand the inner workings of this book? Not quite. But I liked it, okay? I was intrigued. It just did something for me in a way that not all books can. You know? Next one asks for what is your lowest rated on Goodreads and your highest rated book that you read this year, and do you agree? Obviously, my highest rated is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. It has a 4.63, which boggles my mind that it has that many ratings. That is insane. And then my lowest rated one is technically Stuffed by the Were Turkey with 2.15 stars, but like, that's a smutty Thanksgiving novella. Like, that's not going to be a good book. So the next one is Mothered by Zoya Stage, which is at 3.32. I highly agree with that book. That book was awful. It was a COVID pandemic-y book about a mom and a sister living together and weird shit going on, and like, it was not a good book. I don't agree with Fourth Wing. I don't think that should be the highest rated. There are books that are significantly better than that book. That book is all vibes, okay? Thoughts empty, vibes. So that is that, okay? But yeah, that is I don't agree with the fourth wing one. The next one asks for favorite book quotes of the year, and I don't have an answer for that because there's no easy way for me to track my favorite book quotes of the year, okay? So I'm just gonna say that there are so many books that I have loved quotes, although honestly, I could probably pull one from Miss Jessa Hastings in Daisy Hates probably real quick. All my pink ones are ones that I love, and so I'm just gonna grab a random one and we're gonna see what I get. Oh, here we go. The feel of him is my favorite feeling in the world. For all of history and all of time, write it down, ring the town bell, and tell the scribes. I'll wear it on my heart sleeve forever that I love him. I can feel myself drifting further and further from a safe harbor, though, and I should have tethered myself to something, but I didn't. I can feel it now, me tethered to him. But that's how touching is with him. How being with him is, I guess. Like when you don't realize it's raining, and it doesn't feel sudden. Not like the sky was blue and you turn around and then it's pouring, but like it's been overcast the whole time, and then it's one drip, and then another, and another, and another, and another, and then you're saturated, and you can't really tell which drip saturated you, but it happens slowly and snuck right past you. That's what it's like to have Romeo's hands on me. These books, all of these are fabulous, okay? I just love all the quotes in this book. Honestly, Jessa Hastings does no wrong with quotes. This one says the book with the most unique concept you read this year, and I have two for that. We have Weast read by Ian Reid, the first book I read of the year, one of my favorite books. It is a book that strongly looks at like Alzheimer's and dementia, but has a very weird plot. It is not for everyone, so I don't recommend this book lightly, but I had the best time with it, but it's definitely a unique concept. And then also Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. And I cannot say why. This is a culty religious book, but it took a twist, a way that I was not expecting. And I was here for the ride, okay? It was very hard though, because it's just not what you're expecting in a religious culty book, okay? That's all I can say. But it did it, and it did the dang thing well. The next one is books that you read this year that you would reread. And obviously I would reread, and I'm planning on rereading soon, Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I would also reread Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. I love this book. This book is so good. It's a parody YA, it's a parody why choose polyamorous like romance type deal, and I'm absolutely here for it. I would reread Flock by Kate Stewart. I would reread the whole Magnolia Park series by Jessa Hastings. I would also reread this book that I'm only going to show you the back of because it is on a St. Martin's ban, but I would reread this also as well. The next one says to talk about your Goodreads reading goal reflection and your 2024 reading goal. Now, my reading goal in 2023 was to read 110 books, and I have surpassed that. I'm currently at 131, like I'm killing the game, okay? And I like setting book reading goals. However, I don't really want to focus on that next year. I don't want it to be book focused. I want it to be pages focused. I want to read at bare minimum 100 pages a day. Now, I know that's not a lot, but there are going to be days that I do way more than that and days I do way less than that, but I would love to ideally get into the routine or the habit of reading at least 100 pages a day. Like that's just a bare minimum for me. And so that's what I'm going to try to focus on in 2023 or 2024. And so that's going to be the goal. And then I always like to set my goal one book more than the other, but I think next year I'm going to set it to 125 books to read. And then the last question is, what will you prioritize in your 2024 reading year? And I'm going to talk a little more extensively on this in my reading goals video that comes out in a couple of days, but I want to prioritize from reading more diversely. I want to read more diverse BIPOC authors throughout the year. I also want to pick up books that I want to read when I want to read them, regardless of content, because there's so many times that I go to pick up a book and I go, oh, like I'm not creating content around this, so I can't read this right now. And that's not how I want to live my life. I want to read books first and do content for that later. And I know that's backwards, and I'll probably change my tune when I actually have a bigger account on here, but I'm going to read what I want to read right now. That's all I'm going to not apologize for. And that is the end of year book tag. And so I'm just going to tag a couple of my friends on here and I recommend them to do it. The first people to pop in my head. I'm going to tag Miss Leandra because she tagged me in a kindness tag that I need to do. I'm going to tag Brittany because, you know, Brittany loves to read good stuff. I'm going to tag Amy because, you know, Amy also loves to read stuff. And I'm going to tag Nell. So those are my 4 people that I'm tagging randomly. Okay, live your best life. And if you're watching this, consider yourself tagged. You can also do this too. Let me know if you got to the end of this thing. Let me know by giving me a pirate emoji because I'm holding this in my hand. And let me know answer one of these questions for me. Let me know. What was your most disappointing read? What was your happiest read? Like, what are you prioritizing in 2024? Like, give me an answer down below in the comments. And with that, I will see you guys in a video very soon.